Okay, so I want to make a quick video on Burnout because I think a lot of people burn out of Planetside too, but there's a few ways to avoid it, which I think people have to masterfully kind of get through in order to long term be players of Planetside 2. Knowing your own emotions and stuff I think is pretty important for Planetside 2, because otherwise you're going to burn yourself into the ground, burn out, and then leave and play something else. What you want to do is view your experience of playing Planetside 2 like a slow burning candle, rather than something that you're super passionate about and then you get burnt out of. It's kind of in the name because you play it too much and you put too much effort in all the time. Rather, for me personally, as a leader and as a player, I only lead once a week. That stops me from burning out, and likewise our other leaders. I encourage them heavily, and luckily they listen to me, only to lead once a week, and that stops us all from burning out, just because it means that there's no pressure on us to play the rest of the week. If we don't want to, we can just not log in, and that means that we never really get fully burnt out because we're not playing the game enough to get burnt out, which actually helps a lot. I think that anything I can tell you short term to help you from stop burning out, it might help in the short term. Like if I tell you to get super invested in the game and care a lot about alerts, or care a lot about your statistics and having goals in order to get better, and having a lot of emotional leverage, like stuff can be good short term, but it's gonna burn you out long term. I haven't seen anyone that long term has had a high level of commitment like that and not burnt out, or just become someone that over time has become a slow burning candle, like I've said, and just plays like 10 hours a week or maybe 10 hours every 2 weeks. And that's more oftentimes what I see among veterans that still play the game. It is these, again, short, but there are exceptions. Like there are madmen who can play 5 hours a day every day for multiple years. These type of people, I don't even know how to get into their heads. I think these type of people generally view everything as a big deal, and they buy into things very easily. And so if you are that type of person, you probably aren't going to get burnt out to begin with, because you do care a lot, and that caring about everything, you know, it might make you a bit neurotic. But on the other hand, you definitely will continue playing the game for a long period of time, because the futility of the game or anything else hasn't really, I guess, like that also is a thing. Like some people just don't like see downside as much. And if that's you, like you have like naturally high, very high like serotonin or whatever, and like you just are like a very, very, very positive person who just does not see the negative of things ever, to you, again, like Planetside 2, you probably won't burn out from, but there's not very many people like that, and there's 10,000 other things to be doing. So even then, maybe you don't get burnt out, you just get bored and you move on to something else that you find entertaining, even if you don't get burnt out. But yeah, like so the thing is as well that I will say, definitely people that don't burn out from the game can also be people that consider themselves someone that gets something out of Planetside. So that might be that you have a community that you run, or you're one of the bigger, like, important individuals within that community. Like you run a squad, you run a platoon, like you have a few people that really like to drive around and harass us with you, or like really like to play Jaeger with you in a small format. Those kind of, if you have that kind of group, or you run that kind of group, I think it gives you a bit more purpose, and I think that can also help with burnout too. Or maybe you make YouTube videos like me, or like Sirius, or like Kamikaze. Again, it's some external reason, or like you part of the Reddit mod team, or you help on Discord, or you do something like that, or you run a lane smash event once a year. That kind of thing I think can help with burnout too, because there's some extra story behind why you play the game. I think playing for alerts and stuff long time, it's going to be boring after a while. Like after 2 years of seeing the maps turn purple or red or blue, it's going to lose its meaning at some point. For me, that happened after about 9 months to a year, but it will take different amounts of people different amounts of time. But I don't think that's like necessarily a long-term thing. So as much as I'd love to tell you like increase the buy-in that you have for this game, how much you care, view the game differently, at a certain point that kind of stuff is going to seem trivial, and it is going to be more about community, or like, you know, again, like just hanging out with friends for a few hours, or like whatever you find fun with Planetside. It might even just be you really enjoy Zarg surfing and getting a 2 kpm. Like that's sometimes a lot of the reason why I'll play Planetside. Like I will try to get to, you know, 3 kpm, 2.5 kpm, and see if I can reach that level of speed, no matter like how I do it, even if it's just tower farming and air to grounding. To me that's still valid, and that's like something I would enjoy doing, just for fun. And so if there's like some kind of like fun way in which you enjoy playing the game too, that can help a lot. Like there's people that really like playing an air-to-air aircraft and get really good at it. I know that from like a few other games that I've kind of like mastered a certain subset of a game. It can feel quite satisfying to just be really good at something. So if you are just really good in an aircraft, you might really just enjoy doing that. And just that like slow burn effect of having enjoyment from, derived from like satisfaction of knowing you're doing a good job and you're doing things optimally, I think can keep people from burning out too. Another part is just like not seeing the downside of things as much. Like, oh, Rail's fucking up this, Rail's fucking up that. And whilst it's probably true, if we're being honest, and I'm just being a lot more honest than I have been in like, say, a year ago now, you know, the game design of Planetside 2 may not be the best. The new Esamir may not be the best. Ocean may not be the best continent. That stuff you may just not want to focus on and just kind of see the good, which is, again, like the community and just enjoying the game rather than focusing on the negative. Because whilst the negative might be reality, it's not the only reality. There is a reality where the game's still fun, irrespective of the game devs maybe not having the best game design choices. Like, just because something has certain limitations or may not be as good as it used to be for whatever factor, doesn't mean that it's not fun. Just because they'll fuck something up, again, it doesn't mean that the entire game is suddenly bad and the world's going to blow up. I do think sometimes some people get into that rut in their heads of seeing the negative too much in people, in, again, like game design choices, which I'm definitely part of. And there's plenty of other ways in which people just see the negative a lot more than they do the positive. And I think it is important to keep context in mind. Also, in this game, there is certainly like an initial childlike wonder and like intrigue, because everything's new, that is going to run out quite quickly after like 10 or 20 hours, or maybe even a few hundred hours. Once you kind of understand all the mechanics, things are going to lose their novelty that you may initially hold. And I think that that initial novelty does hold a lot of people into the game, because the game does feel a little bit more like magical, because you don't really understand like how everything's working and why people are doing things. Everything's a bit overwhelming, and everything just seems cool when you, without context, see an armor Zarg barreling down to the next base. All that stuff has a different meaning when you have a few hundred hours. You may even dislike that Zarg later on, but initially that can be like fun. And so the context of things definitely changes over time, and with that, again, like, they can come burnout, because you're not viewing things in that childlike, interested, novel state, and you are just viewing things rather mechanically, instead of from an aspect of fun. It's actually really funny to think about how, and this is like a good analogy with life, how sometimes people will remain kind of like unconscious, not really thinking about anything that deeply, and may, to be honest, have more fun than those that are thinking about things more mechanically and seriously. To be honest, I think we've kind of stumbled onto a kind of interesting philosophical point there as to like if it is better to be in the know and see things like seriously, or just view things in it like this childlike wonder of not really understanding things and just going around mindlessly enjoying the world as it appears rather than how it may actually be. Like there's definitely an argument for that. I think the saying is ignorance is bliss, and there's definitely an argument to say that, like, yeah, that's definitely, like, in the terms of Planetside Burnout, you know, really just that childlike wonder, like Rel even talks about, definitely does have a lot of value to it. And retaining that for as long as possible and not kind of like understanding everything mechanically, arguably has a draw to it. Now, sorry for that little tangent, but I thought it was interesting to me at least. I encourage you all to subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and feel free to check out our Discord. We do ops on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Have a wonderful day. We play plenty of other games in our Discord too. I'm out. GG. Bye bye.